everyone. I'm out here at Lake Wohlford in Escondido, California, fishing for catfish again. This has been absolutely my favorite lake this year. I've been out here 22 times. This is my 23rd time out here since last July, and I haven't been skunked yet. So 22 times in a row I've caught at least one fish. I've caught as many as 12. I was looking at my records, and I've caught 76 fish in those 22 trips, and I just caught my first fish of the day here. So the streak continues. 23 times in a row, all within the last year, yet to be skunked at Lake Wohlford. So the obvious question is, what am I doing to make that streak continue? So what I like to do is I like to drift. Lake Wohlford is unique in that when I drift in the part that I drift in, I don't get hung up very often, if at all. The bottom is free of thick weeds or a lot of structure, but yet there's still a lot of fish right down the middle of the lake. So what I like to do is I like to drift. I put my 2 poles out with up to 2-ounce weights to keep them on the bottom, because when it gets super windy, sometimes they'll float up off the top. But I've got the egg weights that'll slide with a whisker seeker rubber stopper, a whisker seeker swivel, and then I have a leader. The pole on the left, the black pole, that one is a chunky rig. So the leader goes to a float, a rattle float, and then 2 Versa rattles with the beads, and then my 4.0 hook from Whisker Seeker. Man, at Lake Wohlford, that seems to be the best setup, is the chunky rope, because when you start drifting, those rattles are probably going nuts down there, and they're attracting the fish. That's what I caught the fish on today. The pole on the right, the green Whisker Seeker pole, that is set up just Carolina rig, which works here too. I tend to catch more channel catfish on the Carolina rig and blue catfish on the chunky rig. So what I do is I just try to go with the wind. There's a flagpole on the top of the Ranger's dock that I try to base it off of. Most of the time the wind is going from west to east, and I float right down the middle of the lake from that buoy down through what I call the field goal. I've got an aerator and then a crappie float. And if I can float right between those two things, I normally get at least 1 bite and 1 fish on most drifts. Right now the wind kind of died down on me, so I'm just kind of sitting stagnant. But you'll notice the tips of your poles will start to bounce when you're drifting just right. And you'll know when you get a hit. It's a different type of bounce. It definitely is pretty obvious when you get a bite. So that's how I drift here at Wohlford. That's what works for me. Like I said, now 77 fish in 23 times. I'm averaging over 3.4 fish a trip. There's been a lot of days where I've only gotten 1, and then there's the day that I got to 12. But there's been multiple days where I've limited out at 5 as well. So I hope you can get out here to Lake Wohlford and try it for yourself. But I promise you, it's a fun lake to fish, and there's a lot of catfish in here. There's the chunky rig. That's what the chunky rig looks like. I've got a sinker, the bead, all Whisker Seeker stuff. Then the Whisker Seeker rattles, Versa rattle. Look at that perfect hook right through the lip. Decent sized fish. I'll take it all day long. Yeah, it's a decent fish. Right in the corner of the mouth again. This is my other chunky rig. A little bit different. It's the Versa 2 rattles, chubby to the weight. My Hog Seeker reel, a little rod. That's a fish. Yeah. Well, it was worth coming over here. Another perfect hook. Oh no. Oh, it came off. Hey, good afternoon. So far, this has been an awesome fishing trip. It's getting later in the day, a little warmer, but I tried it after I caught 2 fish. I thought, well, I'm going to try a different spot. So I started going between the aerator in the middle of the lake and the aerator all the way far east. And I've been getting non-stop action. I've caught 3 fish over here. I had 1 more that just barely got off as I was going to grab the net. It's been awesome. Tons of bites, tons of action. There's a lot more rocks over here, so it's a lot easier to get hung up. But so far it's been worth it. I haven't gotten hung up to the point where I couldn't get out, and I've caught 3 fish in less than an hour probably. So it's been awesome. So always be willing to try something different. This is the first time I've fished on this side of the lake in a year, and I'm catching a ton of fish. So it's awesome to expand the little zone that I normally fish in. So again, I love Lake Wohlford. I'm up to 5 fish in the boat today in my 23rd trip here. So I highly recommend it. I'll see you guys out here. Dang it, I missed it. Oh, the bite. And I missed it. Pissed off as you want now. Net.